Okay, so we're going to start putting this together. I don't have a way to set the camera up so I can film it as I actually do each step. So what I'll do is do it in sections. I'll do it a little bit, stop, and come back, film a little bit, talk a little bit, and we'll get it done. It's won't take all that long. What I have over here is what I'm going to do past the stock motor. You don't have to do anything. You know, these Harbor Freight motors, they'll come with your carburetor and your exhaust. So really, you don't have to do anything to any motor that you choose, providing you've got the exhaust and carburetor. But what I do with my applications, I like to switch over to it's a carburetor from NR Racing. It's for the GX 390, and it fits right on there. It's rated on there. It says Marine, and it's a 21 millimeter jet. So when I spoke to the gentleman there, he had suggested to use that as long as I'm going to be using the header. The header is a separate purchase from SPS Longtail, and it doesn't come with the kit. It's something that I do in addition. When you do that new carb setup, you need to run a open air filter. When you do that, you need to make sure you purchase the kit that has the choke hold down and the adapter that allows you to bolt on the air filter. And then this small one that you see is for the breather. So when you start separating the stock components from the motor, there's a breather that needs to be capped off, and that's what I use for that. Something I failed to talk about when I was just doing the unboxing was, I hope you can see this. Let me make sure I get out into the sunlight. This is a new improved kill switch they use. Way better than what originally came with it. The first one that came with it worked well for a while, and it started to want to vibrate apart on its own and shut the motor down constantly, so I had to do something different. But these are much better, and looking forward to that. So that's a real good improvement there as well with this new kit that comes when it comes. Let's see. Oh, another thing that you want to do when you're putting this together, get back out in the light, I don't know how bad this shade is here, is they advise that you use cornhead grease from John Deere, and the only place you can get it is from a lawn and tractor type supply that sells John Deere items, or you can order it online. So with the way this breaks down and the way it operates within the PTO, SPS Longtail, the technicians there advise that this is actually the best. There are some other types of grease you can use, and in the manual it states the types, I guess by weight. I'm not really a grease expert, but you just follow the manual, and you won't have any problems at all. If you can't get the cornhead grease, they tell you everything else you can use. One more thing I wanted to point out with this medium kit is, while I'm using this 13 horse Harbor Freight, you can use, I believe, gosh, I should have checked before I started speaking, I believe you can use from the 8 horse to a 16 horse on the medium kit. And on their website at Swamp Runner, SPS Longtail Swamp Runner, you can get all the motors and all the different types that will work with this bolt pattern. So they really don't leave nothing to guesswork. It's really easy to do. So without any other comments that I can think of, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, get a little bit done, and then I'll be back. Okay, we're getting ready to put the motor on. and the PTO and the shaft. So I just wanted to film this stage where I'm at. I've got the transom bracket on, the motor mount. You can see I've got a different tiller handle on. It's just on there to while I'm doing the work, to prop it up and keep it level. And we'll get that done, and then when I get back, when I get done with that, I'll turn the camera back on and show you where we're at. So you know what I could do is talk about this handrail a little bit. I've never done that. This is just a flat bottom boat from Bass Pro, and I actually needed something to hang on. I found where I wanted to be a little more stable when I was on the boat. My last deployment, 2010, I mobilized with the infantry. I actually turned 51 on that deployment. That was my last one though. So that last deployment left me a little beat up, and I really need something to help me kind of keep stable. And these have worked perfectly. They're just Schedule 40 aluminum tubing, and I came up with the design and drew it all up and had a fella here in town do all the bending and welding. And then I'm also going to build a deck on this thing for that long trip in the fall, where I can set a tent up at times. So I'll have that on video too. So let's get back to this. I'm going to put the motor mount on and pack the PTO with the right amount of grease. And before I put that PTO in, I'll show you, and we'll move right along. Alright then. Okay, I want to show you where I'm at. I've got the motor mounted and the shaft put on. It's pretty dark. Hope you can see what I'm trying to film here. We've got some Allen head screws. There's 3 of them, and instructions call just for, well, everything calls for just medium Loctite when you're putting all this together. And the Allen screws, it calls for just hand tight, you know, pretty snug, hand tight, with medium Loctite on that too. Next, what I'll do, take all this packing paper off. Next, what you'll do, or what I'll do, is go and put the PTO on the housing. You take this off. Long-winded threads, huh? You'll take this off before you put the housing on, and you'll put medium Loctite down inside the threads. And let's see, let me show you the housing. You put the cornhead grease that it calls for, cornhead grease. If that's not available, the book says you can use 0 weight, number 1 and 2 if you have to, but I went ahead and got the cornhead grease. That's what they advised. Let me pick this up, and I really don't know if you're going to be able to see down inside, but they call for one third full with that grease. It says in the book, if you over pack it, then it'll create some problems with heat, and short of reading the paragraph to you, it's in the manual, and that's one thing you can't stress enough. Just follow the manual. You can't go wrong. And there's not a whole lot of parts to this. As I mentioned before, that tiller handle's temporary. So what I'll do now is put the housing on, and then I think I'll stop. And then tomorrow I'll put the shaft on. I have some parts coming in the mail. I forgot to get the adapter for the open air filter with the new carb I'm going to put on it, so that should be in tomorrow, I think. So alright, let me stop here, and we'll finish this up tomorrow or the next day, I believe. Alright.